If you wait for the opportunity to fall in your lap, it won't. I went out and grabbed it. That video is easily, I could point, and it's like the video that kind of changed my career. Each project you treat as like ground zero and put your all into it, and just because you get one successful one, double back, keep finding the new way to go about it. I like to be a little scared.
What are you scared about? Like the unknown of something going wrong?
Yeah, you're just like, it's like a little unknown, a little butterflies in my belly. I think it keeps me down to earth, If you're walking on the set and you're feeling too confident and cocky, like it could bite you in the ass.
I feel like once you work with someone like Steven Spielberg's DP, it's like where can you go from there? It's like the pinnacle of DPs.
Yeah, I would say, Janusz lit the shit out of it because he's got 2 Oscars on his shelf. And I looked at my whole team. I was like, listen, this is not a video to make money on. This is a video to make great. You have to be psychotic a little bit to be a creative. My wife sometimes she'll be like, you wrote this? Like I sleep next to you?
She watched that Demons video?
Yeah, she's like, I don't know what's going on in your brain. I'm like, I don't know. I don't put any limitations on it. Mm-hmm. I think in a way, if you're hungry enough and you are dumb enough to just keep going, you'll break through.
Christian Breslauer didn't wait for permission. Unable to afford film school, he worked in restaurants and taught himself the craft of filmmaking. And when he heard a song called The Box, nobody asked him for a treatment. He wrote it that night anyway, won the job, and that video changed his life. Since then, SZA, Lil Nas X, Doja Cat, Lisa, and many more, amongst a pitch for Ariana Grande, which led to winning Video of the Year at the VMAs on his grandfather's birthday. In this conversation, Christian breaks down why you have to be your own agent and why you have to be a little psychotic to be a creative. This is Ourselves with Christian Breslauer. Mr. Christian.
What's up, man?
Thanks for being here, bro.
Stoked to have me.
I'm really excited to have you here. I'm excited you made the trip out, the long, treacherous drive through LA, bro.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
It's nice to have you, bro. We've had a lot of legends on the show, and I'm only limiting the show to legends, bro. I'm not trying to get anybody else. I only want my favorite directors and just the best of the best in the game. So I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
And dude, I guess I just want to start it's been a while since we've seen each other. So much has happened in your life. How are you, mentally and spiritually?
I'm actually really good. I'm in a very good place. I became a dad.
Congrats, bro.
July of last year, so it's been almost a year. And that was a big kind of journey that I didn't know how it was going to be. There's so many unknowns in becoming a dad that you always hear people tell you about, and it really is a life-changing thing, and in the greatest way possible. And I think for me, it was just always wondering of am I still going to be able to be creative? Because I'm used to being when you're a single nomad, you're I could give all of me to something, and now I can't, or you could do it in smaller batches. So I had to kind of relearn how to be creative in smaller pockets, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas I used to be I'll just sit around with the record all day and the idea come to me. Now it's when I sit down, it's no, I have to get it in this window. Otherwise it goes to the next day.
Yeah.
So just kind of bit of reshuffling, in your life, but we're still doing it, man. We're still here.
Yeah.
And we're having fun.
Yeah, man. Dude, major congrats to you and your wife. That's awesome.
Thank
Super
you.
happy for you guys. It's she's a baby girl, right?
Yep.
Amazing. And is she a year yet, or?
She's about to be a year. So July, so next month, yeah. She's 11 months.
Dude. Heck yeah.
Yep.
That's amazing. I want to just dive into that, bro. Just because, as creatives, like you said, we give ourselves to something, which is whatever we end up choosing to do. In your case, it's directing. And
yeah.
I always hear people say, having a child is really hard. Having a child is the hardest thing, but it's the most beautiful thing. And I'm curious, how are you compartmentalizing your time now? Are you saying, okay, from 5 to 7 a.m., I'm focusing on creative, or how are you balancing that,
It's funny because I feel since having a child, I'm probably busier than I've ever been in that sense. It's I had a baby and then was oh, let me do this tour with Ariana Grande and creative direct that and all that stuff. So it's I've been pulled in a lot more directions, but I would say what the real secret of this is having a good partner. And luckily my wife is really great, and it's she is mom 24/7. And not to say I'm not dad 24/7, but she holds it down. That's why I always say it's you got to give thanks. Same way in production, we can't do without the crew. Like I can't do it without her, you know? So hats off to my wife for being the real superhero, but allows me to kind of find the pockets. Now, is it challenging? Yes. There's still times where, you know, she might need a break and I'm in the midst of something and I just have to, you know, pause it and, you know, pick up where you left off. And it's a bit of a dance. And, you know, this whole journey of being a director has been a lot of that, you know, trying to find, you know, I always call it, I like to use the analogy of like getting in the gym, you know, and it's like what might feel heavy. Like, man, I can't possibly lift that. And you try and you do a little bit. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm doing it, no problem. And then you're like, let me add a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then it's hard again. And then you do it and you get used to it. So I think that's just that's how I look at life, you know. You throw a little bit more on it each time.
Yeah, you're getting your life reps in.
Absolutely. You know, and that's the fun part. Is like even, you know, as we're still creating stuff, it's, you know, you're always looking for the new thing that challenges you.
Yeah.
You know, when you've been on as many sets as we have, it's like, all right, what could I do now that feels harder or more difficult? And, you know, I think that's the excitement is I like to be a little scared. You know, I like to be a little scared when I go into a shoot.
Yeah.
A little unknown, a little butterflies in my belly. I think it keeps me down to earth, you know. If you're walking on the set and you're feeling too confident and cocky, like it could bite you in the ass. I think if you just feel like, no, I'm a bit nervous and scared and all these things, I think that's a good way to be. You know?
That's interesting. Like what are you scared about? Like the unknown of something going wrong?
Yeah, you're just like, I mean, if you put me on a set with a bunch of digital camera, you know, it's like I think if there's all these variables that I've done a million times, I could almost close my eyes and do it, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas you're like, man, I'm jamming a lot of things technically, and there's a lot of things that could go wrong. Like the last Ariana video, for example, was like, you know, we had a lot to shoot. We're shooting on film.
Yeah.
We're logistically spread in a lot of ways. Yeah. Working with a guy like Janusz, which is like, I don't know how he works, you know? Like, you're taking a movie guy. And luckily the thing is that, you know, what I learned is that those guys and Steven is just, they're balls to the wall. They're like, no, we love this type of sprint stuff. So I'm like, oh, you guys rock like how I rock, you know? But you never know what you're going to get. You know, it's a bit of unknown. I mean, for a long time in my career, I always worked with the same people.
Yeah.
You know, I went on a run with like the same DP, same crew for like ever. And then I started looking at my work and I realized that it wasn't breaking away enough. You know, I just started looking like all the same.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to any of the people I worked with. It was just more like you have to kind of branch away. And then I started having fun with that. Like, oh, this could feel like that if I go this direction. This could feel like that. And it just, you know, I think work is all, it's like I look at it as like pockets of my life and where I was. And, you know, and you look back at now and like a block of 10 years, you could see each thing, you know, a part of the journey. And it's kind of the fun part, you know, we're getting to a point where we have some miles on the tires, man.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
You know, so it's fun.
It almost reminds me of like when you hear a song on the radio, you're like, whoa, like that takes me back to that time of my life.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, bro, it's interesting you say that because I feel like once you work with someone like Steven Spielberg's DP, it's like where can you go from there? It's like the pinnacle of DPs, but it's beautiful because you're literally like reshaping the formula of like a Christian video, which is so dope. And you're bringing a different flavor to it. And I think like, I can't even imagine how special that must have been for you.
It was surreal. Like
he's a legend, dog.
He doesn't do a lot of videos. Like I think he's done like 3 music videos.
What was the last video he did?
It was like, I think Chun-Li for Nicki. And I'm like, when you look at that video, it's like, you know, Stephen Klein. He did a couple Stephen Klein. He did Alejandro with Stephen Klein.
Got it.
But he doesn't do a lot of music videos anymore. And like when he said yes, and I was like, oh shit, like this is really happening. And then it was like, you know, you're sitting there, you're shooting on Universal, you're shooting film, you're shooting with a guy like him, you know, it just all starts hitting and you're like, fuck, I hope this doesn't, you know, like I hope it works.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always confident in my, you know, it was a treatment I was really, really excited about. You know, it's like, I remember when I wrote it and I sent it to her, I'm like, hey, I hope you're down with this. And she was just like, I have no notes. It's amazing. And I was
no
like,
way.
Sick.
That's dope.
And then we started going down the road. Who's going to shoot it? What is the vibe?
Yeah.
What is the look? And all those things. And I haven't really shot anything on film. Like people always ask me, why don't you shoot film? Why don't you do this? And I'm always like, I'm always like, I want to put it on the screen, you know?
Yeah.
And then it was like right for the project.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, it has to feel different than what we did last time. And it feels the right time. And then obviously Janusz being on board, I'm like, 100%.
You have to.
But it was like kind of a spiritual experience, I would say, in a lot of ways, you know, and getting wisdom from people like that is just a different type of thing, you know? I mean, he's a character in his own right. Like, the dude is funny as shit. And I think it was just like the most fun I've ever had on a set.
Really?
Yeah. It was the most fun. It was just like good times. And then just hearing stories and, you know, there was one thing. I mean, you basically majority of our crew was Steven's guys. You know, they're all
way.
like, I mean, you're talking about, if you look at that crew list, dude, there's like, I mean, our gaffer Ian Kincaid is like done all Tarantino films, Scorsese, and he's just a goat. You know, like we just had top tier people, top to bottom, like
crazy.
And I was just like walking around, just collecting knowledge. You know, like, hey, what's going on? You know, tell me a story. You know, this and that, and it was really cool because at the end of the day, we were shooting the last thing we shot in the last day was like the her walking away from the car flipped on fire and the explosion and all that. And there was different blocking I was trying to do with it that was really difficult. And it was like 6 in the morning, the sun's coming up. We're about to like basically lose it. And I just tried it a few times. She was tired. I could feel it dragging. I'm like, this is not working. And I just kind of pivoted and I kind of like reblocked the shot like really fast. And we got it and it told the story. And it's funny because those dudes came up to me after. They're like, hey, man, you're really talented. And like what you did just then is like what Steven does all the time. Like being able to think on the fly, realize something's not working. Don't lose your story because of it. And don't lose the crew and, you know, along in the process. And that was like a cool compliment to get, you know, it's like from guys that do it, you know, and they gave me some good praise. And then after the video came out, Janusz gave me like, he was like, dude, this is amazing. And
no way.
He's like, it's a great, he's like a mini movie. And he's like, I'm very excited and very happy to have been a part of it and all this stuff. So it was great, man. It was good. It was like, to me, like we were talking about is, when you're doing this, you're always looking for stuff to keep you jazzed, you know?
Yeah.
And when you do a lot of music videos and stuff, I always like to try to keep finding that thing that gets you excited. I mean, I love what I do, but you know, you have a certain amount of projects. We've done so many that not everyone is special.
For sure.
In that way.
For sure.
They're all special because they all serve a purpose, but there's a few that break through and you're like, oh, you feel it. You're like, you're a part of something special. And I think we're always just chasing that.
Right. Like the next breakthrough kind of?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a breakthrough. It's just like, I don't know, like even if the video didn't blow up.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, to me, it's just like the feeling of you're doing something that just feels artful, high art.
Yes.
And you're doing it with good people and it just, everybody's on set buzzing about what you're making.
Yeah.
And it's something that spreads to the crew and you could tell when you're on one of those jobs where like everybody... And a lot of the people you might have worked with before, and everybody just has this extra energy where they could realize you see a little sparkle in their eyes, and it's fun. I love that shit.
That's amazing, bro. I mean, yeah, some of my favorite shoots have been like, they haven't been the biggest artists or the biggest budgets, but it was like just such an amazing team experience. You feel like you're bonding with your team and like...
Exactly.
Dude, I just shot a doc last year with my wife. And it's like it's one of my first like narrative / doc pieces that we're currently in post on. And like every day we were in Indonesia for 10 days and we were like filming. We had a tiny crew, but it was like, wow, this is special. I know
you're doing something important.
It's just so beautiful. And it was, when we finished the shoot, it felt like a tingling magic, bro, through everybody's souls. And we had a final team dinner. I'm like, wow, what a fruitful experience. What a fulfilling experience.
Absolutely.
Out of doing, you know, all these videos from all these years, and we end up just doing this project on our own. It's like, it's so fulfilling, and I'm happy you felt that way, bro.
And it has nothing to do with budget. I've had some of the most fulfilling projects that were like stuff that I didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and it just like was the experience, you know.
It is.
Like I did a video for YUNGBLUD where we had Ozzy Osbourne on set.
Oh, sick video.
And it wasn't an expensive video. Like at the time it was like well under what I would normally have said yes to, but he was like, he called me and he's just super stoked and like I can't not, like I just love the kid's energy.
Yeah.
And so I get infected by it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I know it's gonna be a good time. And then like once I knew it was legit, I called my parents and I was like, I'm putting you on a flight tomorrow. Like Ozzy and Sharon are coming to set and I want you to be here because like you might never get this experience again. And rightfully so. It did end up being the last time.
R.I.P. bro.
R.I.P. But it was, but that was one to me that like the whole set was buzzing. Once you see like, you know, a true legend and just a really nice person. They were both so sweet and so nice and we were all just like, riding that high. But
Yeah.
you get a few of those that come, and sometimes it's something simple where it's just a shot you're doing, a shot you're composing, a feeling you're getting. Those are the things that, I call them like the little lightning in the bottle that we're all chasing,
For sure.
When you get when you hit it, it's like people talk about it. Like, I don't do any drugs, I don't have any addictions in my life, but that shit is addicting. You know what I mean? Like that shit is addicting for
the
sure.
The feeling, bro. That feeling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Your parents got to meet Ozzy and Sharon?
Yeah.
That's dope, bro.
It was legendary.
Were they fans?
Yeah, well, I mean, my dad was always put me and my brother on rock and roll early, and like obviously Ozzy is just like, and my mom was just always a fan of Sharon just because of raising kids in that kind of lifestyle. I don't know. My mom always looked up to her, so like for her to meet her, she was starstruck. She's
no way.
I didn't know what to do.
That's dope.
It was good. I never do that to my parents too. Like I don't really like bring them to my set. I was just like, you have to come to this one.
Yeah. That's dope, dude. Someone told me that your dad builds sets, or
yeah. Well, so my dad's in construction, and so coming up, I mean, before I was doing any music videos, I was always making like movies and stuff with my friends, and my dad would build, hey, I need this like nuclear bomb for my war movie I'm making. Okay, and he'd craft it and like make it for me. And so I always had supportive parents in that way. And then as I started getting into bigger stuff, whenever we'd have shoots in Miami, I'd be like, Dad, here's the project. Like he built some pretty sick sets for us. We did the Karol G Tiesto video, Don't Be Shy. He built that whole museum.
That wasn't a real museum?
No, he built that.
Wait, like when they come to life?
Yeah.
I thought that was at the Natural History Museum.
No, he built that in Miami in his studio.
That's insane.
And it probably at a fraction of the cost anybody else would have charged me. You know what I mean?
Insane,
like, so, yeah, he's always done it. And it was honestly a way for me to experience. Like, I know how to build flats, and it's like, the journey that I was on is just like kind of doing a bit of everything. And, nowadays when they're sending me these crazy art bills, I'm like, hey, I know what a flat costs, man. Like,
yeah.
Oh, but the cost of wood is up. I'm like, yeah, but I've gone to Home Depot. I've been there. I know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a lot of padding in those numbers.
That's true.
So it's always funny.
I feel like I felt that way after this set because we kind of spent, this studio was like stripped down. We built it was me and two people. We built the grid, like the ceiling, the grid, the softbox, everything. I'm like, damn, first off, I have way more respect now for like production designers.
Yeah.
But also, I got to see the real numbers because we just did the labor ourselves. I'm like, these motherfuckers are charging us like crazy,
way too much money.
Way too much. Like you said, the cost of wood, I'm like, okay, it's not that much, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of it, honestly, the most expensive part of any of that is when you start looking into the labor numbers.
It's just like, labor.
Labor and time is money. That's what they say. So
it is.
I get it. But like, that's where I say with my dad is like, he doesn't charge his son by the hour. He just like, hey, what do you need?
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you some, make sure he's taken care of and this and that. Honestly, he doesn't get to do it a lot. So he gets into doing it.
That's cool.
And there's a passion there that I think,
And it's like, it's father-son. It's just, there's no higher level of like love and respect that you can have,
Yeah, that one was cool because like I brought my whole family to that. Like my grandparents came to that set. So like they got to see, and it was it's like my brother produced it, I directed it. My dad built the set. My other best friend, Nick, who basically is, does all my UPMing and, helps me run the business. His dad and my dad were partners for 30 years. So they built that set together.
No
so it was like
way.
a full family-fledged thing, It was beautiful. And, it was just like, I don't know. I don't get to do it as much. Not too many jobs take me to Miami anymore. But whenever they do, I'm always like,
dope.
And he doesn't always have the time to do it. We've had a few that have shot since then, but he hasn't always been available to do it. But still cool that we can if we need to.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned a lot about like wearing different hats. You have clearly the experience in construction, production design. And I know coming up, you were DPing a lot too. Like I never knew your background, bro. Are you like self-taught? Like how did you get, and how did you find yourself DPing before directing, Yeah,
I was always self-taught. Never taken a class or anything. I came up shooting, like I said, I made a lot of home movies as a kid with my neighbors and the same dudes that are helping me do these videos, like my brother, my best friend, my other best friend. We were all doing it as kids. And now we're doing it out here. But yeah, I was doing that. And then obviously was into like skating. So I made a lot of skateboard videos. And then when I was into high school, TV production was a thing. And I was blessed to have like really good teachers One in specific is a student named Mr. L. He came in when I think it was my junior year, my senior year, and he saw that I had a lot of talent, like more so than like the public school system of like television production is like, no, they're setting you up to be a news broadcaster.
Right.
And like, I just was, no offense to that, it just wasn't for me. Like, no, I want to tell original stories and I want to make skits and I want to do things that like, I don't want to tell a story about the trumpet player in the band, like that kind of thing didn't excite me. He saw that and he kind of just unleashed me to do whatever I wanted. It's like, hey man, you're talented, you're teaching the class and they don't know what, like, cause I was doing After Effects. I did things that nobody knew how to do.
Dope. And
so he kind of just saw that and didn't put the, shackles on my creativity. And so I always think like, that's why teachers are important, like, especially in that stage of people's life of not collapsing a dream. Cause maybe if he made it feel like it wasn't a thing, then, maybe my dream dwindled and I'm like, this kind of sucks and it's not for me. So he kept it alive. And then when I graduated, my parents didn't have the funds to send me to college. And I always wanted to come out here and go to like USC or something. I wanted to go to film school. And they were like, we can't send you. And I was like, oh shit. So I started working in restaurants. And then kid I went to high school with named Jordan Hollywood, he put out a tweet looking for some dope video people. And I never made a music video. Never even thought about making one. And I just randomly looked at it, and we weren't friends. I was just like, should I respond? I responded. He's like, come over. So I went over to his house. We shot a video that day. And then...
Did you have a camera?
I had a Canon T2i.
Oh, yeah. Good old days, bro.
Like enough to do something. And then we shot a bunch of videos on that thing. And then he ended up buying me a 5D Mark II.
Classic, bro.
And then that was like, I was like, oh, we really getting somewhere now. And then I shot a lot of videos. And the cool thing is, as Jordan kind of blew up, it invited like he did a song with like Tory Lanez. And then I met Tory Lanez by shooting Jordan. And then Tory was like, dude, I love how you shoot, blah, blah. Next thing I know, I was shooting for Tory. Tory was then having featured artists on his records that then would meet me and do the same thing. And next thing you know, you kind of did that way. But then I kind of stagnated and, I didn't really have a lot of opportunity as a director, especially when I moved to LA. I think that's when I first met you. It's like I didn't really have, there wasn't anybody like, hey, let's give him a shake. So in order to get on set, I was like, all right, let me shift to DPing because it was like a way to meet other directors. And I knew enough about camera and I loved, lighting and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, this is fun because like I'm actually getting on cool sets and doing cool things. And that's what led to that. And it wasn't until I finally got an opportunity to kind of direct something. And I would say it was a video I did. I did a video for Young and Ace, who was part of Cinematic.
Okay.
At the time.
Yeah, I know Young and Ace, yep.
And it was called So Long, and it was like a tiny budget. And they were like, yeah, Christian could direct it and all this stuff. And I did it. I directed, DP'd it, and like threw all the things at it. And made it look more expensive than it was.
Yeah.
And then that kind of got some attention. And then I got another video, and then I made that one look more expensive because I was doing all my own effects,
right,
throwing a lot of shit at it,
Yeah.
And then I think when I did that Trippie Red video, Under Enemy Arms.
Oh, the war one, right?
That was one where like I think it was my first 100K budget. And to look at that video now as a 100K budget is like crazy because we had tanks, we had 1 million people, props, all this shit.
Pretty amazing.
But I think about it, it's like I went to the prop house, picked all the props out. We didn't have any lighting because we shot it all daytime and I just DP'd the whole thing myself. I did every frame of VFX on that video.
Yeah, the video's fire.
I did everything.
That video's fire, bro.
But then that video opened a lot of doors because Mo Shalizi saw it.
Oh, Marshmello's manager.
Marshmello's manager saw it.
Got it.
And he's like, dude, I love what you're doing. And he sent me this record for Roddy Ricch. And it was Tiptoe.
Oh, okay.
So I did the record Tiptoe for Roddy. And when I did Tiptoe, Roddy and me kind of hit it off. And right after that video came out, everybody was kind of buzzing my phone. And I ended up shooting a video with Marshmello, for Marshmello, then at the same time. And then the album dropped. And I remember I stayed home that night, Roddy's album dropped. And I think there was a party, and I was like, I'm going to hang back. And I stayed home. I listened to the whole album front to back, and I wrote a treatment to The Box that night without being asked to write it.
Oh my God, The Box, bro.
I wrote a treatment to it without being asked, and I just said, this is the hit. And I just wrote it that night, and I sent it.
They didn't ask for it. You're just like, I'm going to just write it.
I had to connect to Mo, and I just said, hey, I don't know if you already shot this or what's going on. And I just sent it in, and they're like, awesome, thanks. And then they saw it was blown up, and they're like, let's shoot it. And so we shot it, and, you know, I'm sure at that point everybody was itching to do it. But when we shot it, we shot 3 videos in 3 days. We shot Boom Boom Room, The Box, and one that never came out, which was what's the name of it? I forget the name of it, but it never came out.
They shelved it or what?
Yeah, it just never. I don't know what ended up happening with it. It just never came out. And then when we did it, the Box video, it was cool, but it wasn't like a #1 record cool. Because at that point, after we shot it, it was like #1. And it was like, shit, we need to reshoot it. And I thought, oh, they're going to like can me and go with like somebody bigger than me or something like that. And they didn't. They allowed me to kind of add more scenes to it. The original video was literally like Roddy was in a glass box and all these people were trying to break into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not even in the video. The only scene from the original shoot that exists is him at the podium as the president. I think him pulling the bag of money out of the ground, and him in the trap house.
No way.
And there was 3 scenes that we kept from that video.
Did you still follow the formula? Because they're like stitched together, right?
Yeah, we had scenes, but no, that wasn't. I didn't have it all stitched together till the day of the shoot. We had all these scenes and all the new things that became the video, and then on the morning of the shoot, I'm like, we have all these scenes, but like if it's just randomly cutting, I was like, it needs to find a way to like seam. So that morning, like I just sat on set before we got, and I was like, oh, if I do this, I can make that seamless. I do this, and I took the swing right then and there to make it a seamless video, and then that blew up, and that I would say, which gave me my blossom to kind of be a director. That's just a little bit of like how I got to.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the video. I remember that video had a lot of buzz. Also, the song had a lot of buzz. Okay, real quick, I just have a question about that process. You said you were on set trying to stitch the scenes together. Did you time code it out? Like, I need a transition from this to this.
A little bit, yeah. For sure.
Because like I remember, I feel like if I'm not mistaken, there are like scenes where he's like rapping or something, and then like mid rap you start the transition. So like, did you keep? You know what I mean? Or was it like a B-roll transition? I can't remember.
I mean, there's several transitions in there where, you know, scene by scene, you have to be in or out at a time.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it was a bit of that. Like I had to make sure I was always thinking on that. And
so you like counting? Like,
yeah, or you just know like on this line when he says, you know, like or something, you got to be out.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So I mean, I've done a lot of those videos since, and I still do that, you know, where it's like, oh, you have to, you know, to be a good music video director, you have to have good rhythm. And a lot of times it's like, that's why I like to operate camera.
Yeah.
Because I like to, you know, I know when I'm out on a scene and edit, or I know when I need to be back in, or, you know, all those things. But yeah, I always just like to tell that story, you know, for like the people listening that are trying to get somewhere. It's like, if you wait for the opportunity to fall in your lap, it won't.
Yeah.
You know, chances are, unless you're really lucky. Not that people don't get lucky, but
right.
I went out and grabbed it, you know, and that video is easily, I could point, and it's like the video that kind of changed my career.
Wow.
And it's not like a commissioner hit me up or an agent. I didn't even have an agent, you know? It's just like, I went and got it.
Right.
So I always say you got to be your own agent, you know? Like I still to this day, I go out and get most of my stuff, you know?
You do?
I do. I just like, I'm always on the pavement, you know, going out and meeting a relationship, trying to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think people, you know, artists, they're big in the relationships, you know. It's like you gotta like vibe each other out and feel what it is. And when you find good ones, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
People want to keep using you, and it's like a good barber, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Once you find a good one, you're like, hey man, always got a chair for me, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, I remember Anthony was telling me that. Anthony Mandler, we did an episode a few months ago, and
Sick.
He was just like explaining the importance of the relationships he had, and even for him, like all of his work was, there's no commissioner involved, it was just him and the artist, from, you know, Rihanna to Jay-Z, and he's talking about all these stories. I'm like, damn, this is so dope. Like to really be personable and have that relationship and have them want to just talk to you direct. And like, I know you have that too. And we'll get into that later about your relationships and all that. But it's dope, dude. And I'm curious, like after the box popped off and your career started to change, was it just like artists hitting you in the DMs? Like how are people finding you or getting a hold of you, you know?
Well, it was tricky because that video dropped February of 2020. So a month later. My God. So basically the biggest video of my career, my phone was blowing up all these opportunities, all these agents, all these things were happening. And then it was like a month later, we shut everything down. And like I was supposed to shoot a video the day everything shut down.
Like March 13th or something?
Yeah, it was like I had a video shoot. We were doing this epic video and it all shut down. And I remember being like, why couldn't we have shut down 2 days later? And then I would have been like, we had a lot of posts on that job that felt unrealistic. I was like, we could have been sitting here and I could have been looking at edits and it would have just given me something to do. But I remember being kind of nervous. I was like, man, this sucks. Like, I finally am in an opportunity to make it and now I have nothing, you know, like, and I just had to be patient. It's funny because like, I remember talking to Colin about it, like right after I shot it. And I was like, you know, now that I've done something like big, how do you keep doing something big?
Yeah.
You know, because I always looked up to Colin because he had good longevity and like was always delivering some shit, you know?
Yeah.
And he was just like, dude, he goes, each project you treat as like ground zero and put your all into it. And, you know, just because you get one successful one, double back, you know, like keep finding the new way to go about it. So, I mean, I was always cool that like, you know, the people that I looked up to coming into it were always cool back, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Colin's a goat, bro.
I mean, Colin, I mean, Anthony, I've got to know over the years, and he's another one that's really cool. And, you know, even people like Hannah at London Alley, like, you know, they were all doing this stuff before I was. And it's been cool to kind of befriend a lot of them. And, you know, I've never been that, you know me, I've never really been that competitive kind of guy, you know, like, I think there's so much to go around in a lot of ways that I like to see everybody win, you know? And I like to see people do cool shit. Yeah. And it's like you find out you lose a job to somebody. Like, I mean, we've all been there. My whole thing is like, I hope it's cool.
Right.
You know, like, and when you see them do something cool, you're like, all right, that's sick. You know, like, and I'm first one to say it, you know, I'm like, that's a better treatment than mine.
For sure, yeah.
But, I mean, we've all seen the other way of it where you're like, oh, I don't know, they didn't see the vision. But like, but that's the fun part, you know? I think competition is good in a healthy way, right? I think we all need competition to be successful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've always tried to be, you know, thinking that way, like how do you help the next person in and all that stuff, you know? Because we were all there, you know, so I always love to try to like take the time to talk to people. And that's why I like doing podcasts, you know, to try to help. Somebody might watch something and be like, dude, that little blurb there like gave me the extra push, you know?
Me too, bro.
We've all been staring at the wall saying, is this it for me? Or, you know, do you got to break through it, you know? So break through the wall.
I love that. And shout out to all the people you mentioned, man. Hannah, Colin, Anthony. It's super dope. And another thing that you said, which is so interesting, is like when you see a video that you were pitching on and it didn't end up going with you. I remember there was like one video that would have changed my life. And this was like in 2019. And it was I don't want to disclose the artist. You've actually worked with her. but I remember I turned down the video. It was a small budget and the idea was so fucking weird. And I could, at the time, the company I was signed to just couldn't produce it for that budget. And so I turned it down, and
damn.
I still regret it, part of me, but part of me is also like, I don't think I could have done it as well as the director who did it. So I'm not mad, but it was like an interesting thing to kind of think like almost the butterfly effect. Like, had I done that video, could my career have gone even crazier, or was it not meant to be? Because the product was dope.
I would always say, I think it's healthier never to think that way.
Yeah. Everything's always working out for you.
I know. I just think in general, like, you know, the best way to kind of live your life is, I always say, is like what's meant to be will be, right? And if you go, you could be upset about something and all that stuff, but I think generally if you don't go down that road of those things, like just be patient. And I think there's a good grace in letting things find you.
Right.
Like, I remember back then, like when I first met you, you know, I couldn't get anybody to take a shake at directing. You were directing and all the other people, I was around people doing it. And, you know, I just kind of waited. you know? And I was like, I mean, I remember being like, I have great ideas, you know, like just somebody look at me, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the patience ends up paying off in the end, in the sense of like, I didn't force it. Like, it's not like I signed a shitty deal or, you know, put myself in a bad situation that could have, you know, went this way or that way. And I think, you know, if it doesn't happen now, it doesn't mean it won't happen then. Like, I've had a lot of different movie things hit my plate. And I've always had these, like, you know, it's like the filmmaker in me wants to do a movie so bad. But I also know the sacredness of, like, doing the right thing.
Right.
And, like, if you're going to do a movie, and especially in our world, like, you kind of get the one shake at it. Like, it has to be right. Like, I want to bet all my chips that it's not the thing. Not just because somebody's like, hey, we'll give you money to make a movie.
Right.
I don't need the money. I want to make sure I make a great movie.
Right.
And I have to believe in it. And that way I can make other people believe in it. So those things, but I try not to deal in the hypothetical situations because you'll make yourself go mad.
Of course, bro.
But there's definitely a few that, you know, you're like, I think it's just good to see other artists do things, because sometimes if you see somebody that you're competing with do something, it allows you to look in the mirror and you say, okay, I got to level up.
Yeah.
Good horses, they run. It's like when the horse breaks away from the pack, it's like, they run better when they're all next to each other.
Right.
The intensity's high because you feel like you got to go. And I think that's a good thing. Competition is very good and healthy for art, especially.
Right.
I think art needs competition. If you just have too many people, you know, it's like you need people breaking away.
Yeah.
And not everything we do is great. You know, we do stuff that's, you know, you look at it and you're like, eh.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true.
We all have stuff that we're like, it wasn't my best. But even on those jobs, that's not my best. I still, granted, I learned stuff.
You're always learning, yeah.
You know?
I had a mentor in like my early 20s, one of the few mentors I had in my life. And he told me that, like, in order to like succeed in anything, you just have to make an impact. And I've seen in your work, like, you've shaped big cultural moments for all these artists, like Roddy Ricch, Doja, SZA, Lisa. These are all pop stars. Who else? Tory Lanez, Ariana Grande now, right? And I'm wondering, like, when these artists or when the label or whoever, when they come to you with a new project, like, how are you thinking about approaching it? Because you don't just want to make something that looks good, but you also want to make something that makes an impact. So, like, what is your approach for that, you know?
It's so different with every project. You know, I always like to use this example, you know, with a video like an Industry Baby, right? Nas is very creative, very brilliant in a lot of ways, you know? And when they hit me up for that, it was literally, Saul called and he's like, hey, we have this concept that Nas wrote, and we don't think it's like doable with time and the money, because basically the video you see of Industry Baby was like the first half of the video treatment he wrote.
That he wrote.
They break out of jail and then it becomes this whole other thing, and they're like, how do you make it doable so this is thing? So I was like, we make it stay at the jail, and we added different scenes and extended different scenes. And I remember we went to lunch. We were at Sony Pictures, and that's where I met him. And I had this thing in my pocket I wanted to pitch. I'm like, I want to change. He had the first chorus was them in like a lunch line with like trays, and like Drewski was like putting slop on the tray and all this stuff. And I'm like, it just didn't seem cool enough. And so he actually had it where the first chorus was the big jail yard choreography as the first chorus. And then it was like, I'm like, we're not leaving much to like build up to.
Right.
So I pivoted that to the end, and then I was like, this first chorus needs something really good. And I was like, well, so I pitched him and I was like, I have this idea. If you're in a shower, because jail is synonymous for showers and all the fun things in there. And initially he was like, no, I don't want to do that. And I remember being like, fuck, I'm sitting there in the meeting. I'm just like sad. And I'm just like, damn. And then our food came, he started eating, and then he just like stopped mid-conversation. He's like, I want to do that idea. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I think it's going to be sick. And I was like, oh. And it was back greenlit on, and I remember being like, oh shit, this is going to be sick. Because I was like, that scene is what makes it like takes it from like a 50 million view to a 500 million view. You know what I mean? So like, I would say that's one influence of like how to shift it, you know, like tapping in a bit. Especially with him and his virality, I was like, he's the perfect artist to take that swing with, you know?
So your idea was to have all those dudes in the shower? Was it a bunch of dudes in the shower?
Yeah, it was the dudes in the shower, and I said we blur them and make it feel...
that was choreography too, right?
It was choreography. It was choreography in the shower, the whole night. I'm like, but this is how you make it special, you know?
I remember the colors were even dope too. Was that a set build or...?
Yeah, we built that set.
Got it.
But we shot at a real prison. And that, like, the crazy thing about that video is, like, we shot that at a real prison, and that was the second day, and we had a hard out at the location. Like, it was like a prison. It was like
an active prison?
Yeah, it was like, you have to leave, like, at this time, or else, like, we're kicking you out.
There's still people, like, locked up?
No, it was kind of like, I don't know. It was in, like, a transitional phase. I don't know. But they were just like, there's no money you could throw at the wall to extend your time. You're out.
You have to be out at this time.
So it was a real hard out.
Yeah.
And we were shooting the big dance sequence on the yard, and that shower sequence. The shower was built on a basketball court here, and the yard was right here. So they're like looking at each other. I had an hour to shoot both.
Damn.
Not an hour each, an hour to shoot both.
That's insane, bro.
And once we got in the shower, they were slipping. There was issues, and I had to like pull rabbits out of my hat to like. I wanted to do like a handheld pass in there and really go in. And that's why when you watch that video, there's not a lot of coverage in that scene. It's like basically a wide with Nas, and then I just did a quick pan down pass of the dancers
for the shower, the dancing.
For the shower scene.
Got it.
The dancer out in the yard, I have extra coverage of, but yeah, that was one.
One camera on that.
I think, I don't remember actually. It might have had two on the yard. I don't remember. But the other variable that I would say is like when you take the Kill Bill one.
SZA one, yep.
SZA.
Mm-hmm.
I was on my honeymoon, and I got hit for that video. They were like, oh, SZA's dropping an album, and she wants you to write on something. And I don't remember the name of the original record. I can't remember for the life of me. And maybe if I go back in my files, I could find it. But the brief was she wants to do something in the Tarantino universe meets like Everything Everywhere at Once. And I was like, okay, I don't even know what that is, but sure.
Yeah.
And I wrote this concept that was basically like the Kill Bill idea. It was a little different in the beginning, with some shades of it. And I remember sending it. I remember Tommy was like, I don't know if you should send this in, man. Kill Bill's been done a bunch and this and that. I'm like, listen, man, I'm on the honeymoon. I'm not making another one. Let's just send it in and see what they say.
Yeah.
So they send it in, and they're like, hey, we're going in a different direction, but she loves this idea for a different song. And I was like, okay, let's see what the song is. They send the song. It's called Kill Bill.
Did she make the song based on your treatment?
No. I think it was already existed on the album. But then when she saw the Kill Bill treatment, she's like, we should use this for the Kill Bill video.
That's insane, bro.
Me not knowing there's a Kill Bill song or anything. And the record that I had previously was not a great record. Like, I mean, not that she makes bad music. It just wasn't the hit, you know?
Right.
And all of a sudden they're like, yeah, she wants to do this for the Kill Bill video. And just because I wrote the Kill Bill treatment,
bro,
just turned into, it became a single bid. And it just became the biggest record on there.
Insane, bro.
And it's funny because I always think about that, like that moment of like, you know, some people would have got scared. Maybe I should, like, maybe, yeah, you're right. It has been. And I was like, nah, let's just send it in. And it became that thing. That's where I would say there's a little bit of luck, you know?
That's the universe,
but it's like, you tap in a little bit. But when you're saying shaping the pop culture moments, I don't know. There's like so many ebbs and flows to all of it that you know, there's been, sometimes you just black out while you're writing a treatment and you don't, like, people always ask me about the Doja Cat Streets video, and I'm like, I couldn't tell you. They just told me, hey, this challenge of the silhouette challenge is blowing up, and can we make a video that has a bit of that? And I'm like, okay, the song's 5 minutes, that challenge is 15 seconds. I'm like, how do we make a full video?
Wow.
And I don't know, I think I smoked a J, drank some wine, and wrote the treatment, and then somehow, you know, made the video.
That's insane, bro.
There's no formula to it. I think every job is different, and to kind of answer your question, I would say the first step is listen to the record and feel what it naturally feels like. What is it? Close your eyes. What's something cool? And I think you'll know is like, it's either, sometimes for me, it's like an immediate like light bulb.
Like I know the idea. Yeah.
I gotta fucking exhaust myself and listen to it 80,000 times. Shower, driving.
Yeah.
fucking go for a walk and like beat your head against the ground and then like put it on a shelf, walk away from it for 2 days, play it again, you know? And it's a process, you know? And that's the fun thing about it is like, it's never the same, you know? Never is.
I had that issue, the thing even with Tommy, he like followed with me. He's like, bro, are you going to submit an idea? I'm like, yes, but like, I just don't have it. Like, I don't even want, sometimes I don't even want to like tell him because I don't want to like freak him out. But sometimes it's just like something.
Yeah, I just need an extra day. And then you're staring. It's like you staring at the wall going, any minute now. I've been there. I've submitted treatments at the fourth quarter where like, I just have to change something and I didn't even have the idea.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. And I'm just like pulling it off of like the fucking top shelf and just being like, and sometimes I'll even throw it like, hey, if I at least get something in the conversation, I buy myself a few more days to then be like, hey, we could tweak it, you know what I mean? But
it also depends how specific you get, right? Like, I know like when I talked to Anthony, like when we were kind of chatting, I kind of got the sense that like his ideas and pitches weren't really that like in depth. Like, I don't think he'd break down the time codes like that and be super in depth. But like when you're pitching, because you're so formulaic in how you shoot, like, are you pitching them like at this hook, we're doing this, at this verse, we're doing this, you know?
Yeah, my treatments, as I've gotten to where I have become a lot simpler.
Oh, they have?
Although the one I just did for Ariana, The Hate That I Made You Love Me, was like the first PDF treatment with images I've made, like personally made.
Oh, really?
In probably years.
What are you doing then if you're not doing...
I usually am just like taking the record and I break it down bit by bit and I submit it as like a one sheet.
Oh,
with no images.
Just pay like time codes or something?
Yeah, somewhat.
Or just like paragraphs?
Yeah,
like...
paragraphs will just be like, this will happen, then this will happen, this will happen. I mean, when you're close with certain artists, and sometimes even when you're not, you're just like, if I think I've gotten to a point where they know what they're getting with me, you know, where they're less of worried about where my vision is for the visuals. What's the story?
Right.
What is the vibe? You know, and sometimes if I have good images, it might only be a few images that I could see, like, hey, here's a paragraph of what it is, and here's a few images of what it could be like.
Right.
But I like to have the conversation. That's where it's like I don't like to go down commissioner road and like have this emails back and forth. Like if I could get to the source and just talk to the artist.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you want to do?
Right.
What can we do? Do you want me to lead the path? You know, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, some of my biggest videos have been the simplest treatments of just a paragraph or something. And that's usually the bait. Like, hey, here's where my vision is. And then I'll do like a dive into some visuals. You know, like here I'll pull references, pull this and that, you know. I mean, I think that's kind of, it just depends. Every bit is different, but I don't really, my treatment process has shifted a lot. Early days, I was very visual.
Yeah.
And really going for the breaking it down, doing all that. I still do it for me, just like, even if I don't send the artist the breakdown of each section, I do it for me just so, does my story make sense? Can I tell it properly in the time? If you just come up with a grand idea and then you're on set and you're like, man, I get songs 2 minutes long. I got a 6-minute idea. You're really stretched, you know?
Right.
So then you got to kind of know, you can't overpromise something that you can't get in the video. So I always do the due diligence of making sure that's there. And not everything gets boarded either. Sometimes I have storyboards, sometimes I don't. I always have a shot list to a degree, you know, like I call them like my story beats because I also like to get inspired on the day as well. Like, you know, oh, wait, this looks kind of sick. Let's put a camera here. Let's grab it. But because I shoot so much in a short period of time, I usually am a bit surgical. You know, 2 takes here. I mean, there's 1 take, you know, this, that, and you know.
Oh yeah, how much coverage would you say? Like, are you just kind of like, that's an interesting point. Are you doing like 2 wides, 2 close-ups, or like what, you know?
I don't really shoot a lot of multicam. I usually like 1 camera. And I like to...
Like 1 camera per angle, per scene, you mean?
Yeah, just 1 camera that I exist with. Like, because... I mean, depends on if you're doing something highly narrative where it makes sense, you could get 2 cameras. Like on the Hate That I Made You Love Me thing, like we flipped a car, had 3 cameras on it. There's some stuff with him digging where, yeah, I can shoot that with 2 cameras, go something tight and then something wide. But like for the most part, it's a 1 camera thing for me where I like to just like, you know, frame that, get a moment, get the moment. So I find myself getting distracted with two cameras sometimes.
And if you're doing single camera, are you doing like lens changes for certain scenes, or do you like to just hold a scene on a certain lens?
If I have time.
I
Sometimes I keep that bitch on a 24mm lens and I'll shoot the whole thing on it. You know?
Right.
But change the perspective of it. I mean, I've been there. Nowadays, I usually swap. Or if I know I'm on a day like that where it's going to be crazy, I'll just throw a zoom on there where I can be fast.
I like it though. I mean, it's like you have the thing about your videos. I was like dissecting some of your work yesterday. I'm like, he's really good at coverage. You're really good at coverage. Like you can get like, I'm sure a lot of your videos nowadays are like multiple day shoots, but I know
I've never had more than a 2-day shoot though.
And that's insane to me.
Everything I've done has always been at least 1 or 2 days.
That's insane to me.
SZA was a 1-day shoot.
Kill Bill was 1 day?
1 day.
How many hours?
Fucking like 18.
There's
It
so
should have been
much.
a 2-day shoot.
Dude,
We did wire work. We did stunts.
I don't know how you did that. Yeah, the ending with the dude. I don't know how you did that. Like I'm dissecting the video. I'm like, if I were to be in that situation on a 1-day shoot, I'd either kill my crew and have go 25 hours, or like I don't know how you're processing your coverage, or if you're just like confidently shooting 1 take here, 1 take here, and we're off.
Yeah, I've moved very quickly. Like the most recent one I did that was like a crazy 1 day was the Lisa Fuck Up the World video. That was a 1-day shoot.
That was 1-day shoot?
Yeah. That was ambitious as hell with the styling and everything. I don't remember how long it took, but it was like similar to SZA. Maybe not 18, but like 16 hours or something. It was long. But they only had the 1 day,
Yeah.
But
jeez, dude.
you have to be, I mean, maybe it's a bit Clint Eastwood-esque where when I see what I like, I move, I'm not one to, I think in respect to the artist time, to the crew time.
Yeah.
If I think I got it and it's good enough, why try to beat it, especially in that way. Like if I'm doing a film, it's a little bit different where like, sometimes you're in a couple takes deep and you're now getting into the good stuff. Whereas, you're working with a superstar artist, they're giving you the good stuff. It's a matter of, is everybody else getting it with them?
Right.
Is your camera getting it? Is focus sharp?
Right.
So that, but like good artists will bring it snap early, they don't really let it linger too much. So
yeah,
I do, I try to be very surgical in that way.
Yeah.
Close up, this, that. Basically editing camera.
Right. I mean, that's good.
There's not much to edit in that sense, It's like very much an editor getting it and they're like, oh, this is
right.
Said that line there. Okay, that goes there. There's not much flexibility past that.
Right. And do you provide like animatics for your editors?
Yeah.
So you'll break down, like you'll give them like
before I go into the shoot, you'll have
the edit.
Basically.
Yeah.
And there's a little freedom. I mean, not to take anything like from Luis and stuff, like there's been some stuff that's minor that to me makes a big difference. Like even in the We Can't Be Friends video, there's this one shot where I think it's like she's under the blanket or whatever, and it cuts back to Ari in the operating chair and she's like kind of breathing emotionally and there's like tears forming. And that wasn't in the animatic, but like Luis was editing, he's like, oh, this feels like a nice callback moment.
Luis is your editor, yeah?
Yeah, Luis has edited a good majority of my work when he's available. But I don't know, I think there's always room to add little spices of stuff. I shoot very exact, and if I had more time, I would probably shoot wider coverage so we had more freedom in the edit. But me knowing like, hey, I want to tell my story and I want to make sure. It's always the thing is, like working with a DP, it's like sometimes people exhaust like making one shot pretty and that does nothing for me.
Dude.
Like I'd rather 100 shots that look 30% cool than 100% cool shot.
Yes, dude. I'm so happy. I've worked with some DP. That's why I'm so interested in your story with Janusz. Am I saying that right, by the way?
Yeah.
And when you did the recent Ariana video, like these older DPs, these OGs sometimes are very like fixated on like making sure every detail is perfect. But the problem is with music videos, you don't have time, bro.
Yeah, I would say, Janusz like lit the shit out of it. And granted, they were long days. We went over, things like that. But I think there was just a respect on the set of like, I'm not going to rush him.
Right.
Because like he's got 2 Oscars on his shelf and he deserves I looked at my whole team. I was like, listen, this is not a video to make money on. This is a video to make great.
Yeah.
You know, so we all went into it with that intention of like, let's throw everything at it.
Okay.
You know, and we did. And it was like, to me, you don't do that every time because we have bills to pay.
For sure.
But I was like, this is the one where we give it our all. You know, we put it all on the field. And, you know, it takes everybody buying into that belief. But he still moved very quickly, but we just had ambitious. I mean, you're talking about process trailers, you're burning people, you flipping cars. It's stuff that, like, you know, they take a whole day on a film shoot to shoot the car flip. You know,
Right.
we doing it, you know, 2 hours in the back end of a fucking 2-day shoot.
Insane,
you know, it's like,
bro. I can't believe that shoot was 2 days.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it was. I've never had a video shoot over 2 days that I could think of, at least.
It's dope that you have the, I think, the confidence to know, like, okay, this is the most important shot. Once I get this, I'm moving on. People get fixated, they get hung up. That's what stretches out a shoot. And I'm guilty of it too, man. Like overthinking or second guessing.
You have to pivot fast. I mean, even on that shoot, we got stuck in mud because it took longer than we expected. Like that miniature diner shot was supposed to be something that the motion control guys were just going to shoot while we were getting on the process trailer, and all these things got shifted. And essentially, we got stuck shooting that. Then it was late getting on the process trailer. We were rolling a couple hours behind.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we got on the process trailer, you know how that stuff goes. It's like technical. And so I really condensed my shots, and knowing I'm only looking for a reaction or a quick this and that, like I was just like, we're going to do one path. Like we had a stretch at Universal. It's like basically the street behind War of the Worlds.
Yep.
And I would be like, Justin, I'm going to do scream out, reset. We're going to try to do 4 takes in this one roll before we reach the end of our path.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be quick. And look, all right, reset. And look, give me, and boom, you get 4 takes in one go. And all right, within those 4 takes, he's a good enough actor. We got good enough people. We got something. And you had to move like that. You got one shake. A lot of that stuff was one take, you know, that we did because I'm thinking time-wise, I'm not going to have the time to do it. And
shooting film, bro. You don't have, it's not like digital where you can shoot a bunch.
But that's where, like, it's funny. It took me so long to shoot film, and everybody who'd ever been around me is like, you're like the perfect guy to shoot film because, like, you don't exhaust it,
right.
You know? So, like, now having something like film on your back where you're like, I'm further keeping in mind the preciousness of time.
Yes.
And by the time this probably drops, we're shooting another video. And upping the ante even more, we're shooting on VistaVision.
Wow.
And
dope.
And a 400-foot roll of VistaVision gets you 2 minutes and like 45 seconds of 35 millimeter film. So, you know, even more time is precious because time is money. You're burning through reels, you know?
Right.
So, but it's a challenge, you know? And like I said, we're always looking for the next challenge. And yeah, I mean, you do what you got to do for the art of it, but yeah, it's always a journey.
I'm actually curious for you, like, you have a lot of like homage to films in your videos. Who's like your favorite director?
My favorite director, it's tricky because, you know, the kid in me that fell in love with cinema would probably say Steven Spielberg. You know what I mean? Just because, you know, I think about my childhood and the movies that made me fall in love with cinema. Like, I remember, you remember going to the theater and seeing like Jurassic Park, you know, things like that. And you're like, I think my first visible memory that I can remember was seeing Jurassic Park in a theater.
That's dope. It's a cool memory.
And I would say the more mature I've got as a filmmaker, I appreciate somebody like David Fincher for the precision.
I love how you're saying Fincher. It's like,
I mean, I love Fincher for precision. I have OCD, and not in the sense of David, but I have OCD to a degree of making sure that what's in my frame is important and types like that. I'm not like, I don't have the liberty to do a cajillion takes, but maybe one day. But David for the precision, because like his movies makes my OCD like feel happy. Like, I'm like, you know. But I mean, there's so many. It's like so hard to just pick favorite directors because every film feels different. You know, like that's the good thing about it, is there's not one singular, but I would say somebody like Steven is what inspired me to do it. So I have to give flowers there. And then somebody like David is where I'm at now in my life, inspires me to go further.
Right.
You know, it's like, I didn't expect to be a music video guy, but seeing a guy like David and do what he did, music videos, and then transcend to, you know, his storytelling is inspiring to me. It feels like a journey that I can now follow. Whereas like the initial journey was like Steven laid the brick foundation. So we'll see who inspires me later in life.
Yeah. I've kind of been inspired by like directors who've kind of come from our world. Like we were talking about the Daniels earlier, and just seeing what they're doing, or even someone like Ryan Coogler. He wasn't a music video guy, but like I just like his path of like finding an actor like Michael B. Jordan in his infancy and creating a movie like Fruitvale Station that was super indie, and now he's like one of the biggest directors of our generation. It's just crazy.
And he and it's interesting to see Ryan's path where he kind of went into the studio system. You know, obviously when he did Creed, he kind of like put him in there. But then kind of went the studio system where it's like, you know, he's doing those Black Panthers and doing the studio films, and then to see him finally use that leverage to then do Sinners, where it's like, now this is a movie for me, and it's on my terms, and do that. And that's where I'm excited to now see him as, you know, where he's at in his career. It's like, I feel like we're going to get more of who he really is, and not just like having to take this like IP and do that, you know, like that's the exciting thing, is when you see that. Because it's kind of like you see Steven in a way is like that, you know, it's like early in, get into the studio, you're doing all these hit studio machine movies, and there's classics in there. But then it's like once he reached a later part of his career, it became this like, you saw the artist in him start to, and people always say like people are indifferent to Spielberg's work, but I always just think about that, like, you know, there's something to that.
They just make their bag and then they're like, I'm chilling.
But there's a maturity in like the work that gets there, you know.
It is a maturity, and I think it's just the experience of making stuff.
Yeah, true.
You know, the set experience, even for us, bro. I mean, think about how many sets you've been on, bro.
That's I mean, that's entirely, I think about like the amount of sets I've been on, the amount of time and hours I've been on set. I'm probably just as seasoned as any director around, you know, because like film directors, you might do a film, you get 40 days or whatever it is, and then you might not shoot again for 3 years or whatever. So I'm like, I think I got some hours on me.
Yeah, of course, bro. Of course. I wanna kind of start to dive into like some of your relationships with these artists, because I think like relationship building and getting to know another artist as a creative and a human is something that a lot of directors don't have the privilege of, right? You sign to someone, let's say it's Tommy, shout out to Tommy, or you sign to someone like Lark, shout out to Lark. There's different, in the music video space, there's different reps and agents who will pitch you opportunities. But a lot of times when you're writing on those jobs, you're not really talking to the artist. You're just kind of blindly submitting, at least for newer directors, right? Who don't have those relationships. But what you've done is you've created proof of concept. Your proof of concept are your dope videos. One of your biggest proof of concepts was The Box, and that opened up doors for you, and it opened up relationships, and now you have interpersonal relationships with artists, right? So with that being said, I want to dive into the world of Ariana Grande. Ariana is an amazing artist. She's, you know, one of your most recent and consistent collaborators. You guys have done how many videos together now?
I don't even know.
A lot. And I just want to, you know, talk about that world with her, because first off, I admire your work with her. I admire her as an artist. And I feel like you guys are like the perfect match, like the perfect artist-director match. And one thing about Ariana, when I was looking at your videos with her, and then I was looking back at her history of videos, and I was noticing Ariana goes through different eras, you know? The pop girly Ariana is not the same as today's Ariana, which is more, I would say, if I had to describe it, it would be like cinematic and more like storytelling. It's matured, right? Yeah. But I'm just curious, like with Ariana in particular, do you have conversations with her about her new eras and like where she wants to take these worlds?
Not necessarily. I mean, when we first met, I think it was I had got a phone call that she wanted to just have a chat. And I didn't know she had new music or whatever, so like we just got on a call, and she's like, "Hey, I've been kind of working on some music, and I would love to play you some stuff to see if it's something you resonate with and if you'd want to do anything on it, you know?"
That's a dope call.
Yeah, and she fell in love with the video I did for Doja, the Demons video. She was like, oh, that video was so creative, so cool, so like, because she, loves horror too, and like, I think there was just something to it that attracted her to my work. And obviously there was like the Industry Babies and some of the other stuff, but she played me the record, and when she told me, I'm thinking about naming my album Eternal Sunshine, huge fan of the film, which we found out we both were. And as we started chatting, there was a lot of good conversation. She played me some stuff, and I instantly had just ideas flowing. And there wasn't much of a conversation past that because we did Yes and. And Yes and, when you listen to the record, it's different thematically than a lot of the other songs on the album. Like, the album as a whole has a lot of emotional stuff, and like the core of that album is represented by We Can't Be Friends, like the visual, and that's like what birthed everything we've done since. But Yes and was like we need something to establish like I'm back and I got a message and it's different. So I was like, I always loved the Cold Hearted Snake video that Fincher did with Paul Abdul, and it's like been something, itching at the back of my head. And then when she told me the messaging and this idea of critics, I was like, oh, this could be a lot of fun. Instead of the record executives, we bring critics and let's make it a whole thing. And she went for it, and we shot it. And that was our first relationship of working together, and it was very positive. And then she's like, what do we do now? I want to work with you on more stuff. So then I had the concept of We Can't Be Friends being, instead of doing an Eternal Sunshine video for the song Eternal Sunshine, I said, let's take the idea of Eternal Sunshine, let's put it in We Can't Be Friends. And I said to her, I was like, I know this song's technically not about a relationship, but your fans can relate to a relationship. And I think by doing a visual that represents that, the emotional tie that keeps it sacred for the meaning that you wrote it for to you, but allows them to follow a journey. And we did the video, and it was super successful, and then we had fun. But now, fast forward, we then did the short film that was for the deluxe, which we dove deeper into that like lore we built with this Brighter Days Inc. facility. We made it like an old woman going back to the place to watch some memories. We just kind of kept digging it in. And if you go to the tour, we did a lot of this stuff. We pulled it into the tour as well now, which is kind of fun. We're creating our own little playground to play in. But this new album is a leap away. And that was what I was saying, is like when I decided to shoot it on film and we really played in this like Hitchcock 60s inspired horror world and just having some fun there, I was like, it has to feel visibly different.
Right.
The record is fantastic. The album is great. And I was just like, we have to pull this in a direction where Eternal Sunshine's here. This is there. We're growing you as an artist. And like you said, it's like you look back at the work and, she has the different eras, the styles that she was shooting, and they all served their purpose. All the directors that came before me and worked with her, like everybody did a great job and did their thing. It's just where she's at now, she's grown so much as an artist. She had that song Saturn Returns. She talks about like going through Saturn Return is like this maturity of becoming a new kind of version of yourself. And the things that no longer serve you kind of strip yourself from, and you blossom into something new. And luckily for me, I kind of have met her at a time where she was just in the process of that, and I had just gone through my own, and it's like, we kind of clicked, and we always joke about it. It's like, we're creative soulmates, it's like the yin and yang approach of like, she can have an idea that all of a sudden clicks for me, and it's like we just kind of build it like Play-Doh.
That's amazing, bro.
And it's a real free-flowing state. And I've been blessed to work with so many artists, and some had that kind of tight relationship, but nobody have had the relationship quite like what we've developed, where even outside of just, the art, there's a friendship, and there's like a beauty to just like, hey, how are you doing outside of all this, you know? And I don't think sometimes it becomes so transactional.
Of course.
It's like we see an artist and, we're cool, and it's like in that moment and like, all right, I'll see you later.
Where's my edit?
It's like, but it's still a bit of that where, it's the one artist that I feel like has always continually opened the door and do that. That's why it's like, I'll always, I I told her the other day, it's like, I'll be here as long as you have me. You know what I mean? Because like, you know, it's rare to meet people like that. And she's so sweet. And we're both from Florida. There's so much stuff that we just have connection wise. And yeah, it's just been beautiful, but it's rare. It took me a long time to meet somebody like that.
Yeah.
You know, and now that we're doing it, we're just having fun, you know, because we love the same things. And when you kind of have somebody that can do it alongside you, like you talk about it, directing is a very sometimes lonely road. And when you don't feel like you're alone in the creative process, where it can kind of open the door to do whatever you want to do. And all ideas are good ideas, you know. That's the most important thing we always say. It's like, there's no bad idea.
Right.
You know, every idea is a good idea.
Right. I know, like with Brighter Days Ahead, what was there a reference to Minority Report?
Yeah. There's a bunch of references tucked into that. I can't even remember them all. But yeah, Minority Report with the balls, for sure. I tried to even build something that was like glass and cool, but it just cost $1 kajillion. We couldn't do it. What else did we sneak in there? The little eye that comes out and scans her was like kind of modeled off of War of the Worlds alien eye thing that came out. I mean, there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And that one was shot by another legend, Cronenweth Jeff, who
dope.
We became really good friends during the process, and he became kind of mentor vibes. You know, we go and we play golf, and you know, he always puts me on some game of different knowledge and stuff. So he's just super cool to kind of meet guys like that you look up to their work and can pick their brain.
Yeah. Are you guys you and Ariana, like the creative yin and yang? Is it like where you say, hey, I really think this scene could be cool to pay homage to from this film? Or is she into these films? I know you said like she likes horror, Hitchcock, all those things. Like,
yeah,
know?
I mean, well, to me, the new stuff was just me kind of listening to it. And I was like, hey, I would love to take this into this world. And she's like, you're right on the nose.
Got it.
You know?
Dope.
So it's like, oh, you and me are smoking the same cigar. You know, it's like that kind of, we have a lot of those things where our taste is similar, where if one sends something, we're like, yeah, that's exactly it.
Right.
Which is good because, you know, we never really have to sell things to each other.
Right.
It's like somebody sends something and we're like, yeah, you nailed it. It's like perfect. And even now with the tour, because that was the big thing, is she had asked me, you know, last year, she was like, hey, I want you to creative direct the tour.
Wow.
And I was like, well, shit, I've never done that. You know, I don't know anything about the live space. Well, I did do like the SNL performance for her. We did a Jimmy Fallon. So I was doing it on a small scale.
Yeah.
Which was fun. It was like Wetting the Beak. And then those were all well received. And I think she was like, well, listen, I love what you're doing with that. Like, you want to come do it on the big stage? And I was like, she first asked me to do it. First question I asked her was, why do you want me to do it? You know, what do you see that I'm bringing to the process? Because, you know, I didn't want to quickly raise my hand and say, yeah, and then not be prepared to do what she wanted me to do, and then basically could hurt my whole relationship. You know,
right.
I don't want to risk something for the other. So she was like, I could go get anybody in the industry to do it, like the top creative directors of tours or whatever. But she goes, I feel like they're all going to give me stuff that already exists in the space because they're so watered into the space, where she's like, I feel like you not coming from this world will bring a fresh perspective that will, my core hope of it is so that the live experience feels like you're watching a film.
Dope.
She's like, I want it to feel like you're at a live film.
That's amazing.
And I was like, okay, well, now that I know you're saying that, I will accept the job. And so we went on a deep dive, and it was like one of those things. It was stressful for me because I was trying to figure out what it was. You know, what is this? You're taking this whole thing and putting it into a live experience. I didn't quite know how to grasp. And I remember it's like, luckily, like the first conversation was like June. And it was like, oh, we're not going to really kick up these creative calls till like November. So months are passing by. We had an initial tap in, and I pitched her something. She's like, no, I don't think that's right. Like, she's like, this is what I'll give you. She's like, it should follow, the theme of the show should be this journey from darkness to light.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, there's something there I can play with. So I sat with that for like a couple months, and I was like, man, I don't know what I got. And it's like, I I felt the timeline, like you're saying, it's like you stare at the wall and you feel it just getting the pressure starting to push on you. You're like, shit, I got to get something. These meetings are about to start and they're going to expect me to have something. And I just went in my bag and I created this. I remember I went down and I created the whole deck and everything. And I remember looking at my wife being like, I hope she goes for this, because if she doesn't like it, I don't think I could do the job because I don't have anything else. And I pitched it to her. And when I was pitching it to her, she started crying. And I was like, I hope this is good. And she's like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
Blah, blah, blah. And I just felt this wave of relief rush over me. And then it became, okay, we have to bring it to life.
Wow.
You know? And there was a lot of logistical things into, like, we've done so much stuff that's like hasn't been done with, like, we invented these screens that move like curtains and, you know, really creating this experience. And then we shot these interlude films that go deeper into the world and making it feel like this transcendent experience.
So those are like playing on the screens?
Yeah. So like there's like each act has like a screen. It tells a story, and then each act has like a narrative to it. Like
even like while she's playing?
Well, there's content that's always playing on the screens behind her, but like at the start of the show, there's a film.
Yeah.
Then like after the first act, the screen's closed and there's a big film that plays.
Got it.
And every act so on tells the story, the journey.
Wow. And is she like changing in between those?
She's changing, so I'm using that time to change her. But
dope.
We did these insane shoots. Jonathan Sella shot all that stuff. It looks great.
Oh, dope, dude.
But it was a challenge, you know, to kind of like create this thing. And then, like I always say, is like being an artist in that way. It's exposing yourself in public, right? It's like you're basically stripping yourself and putting yourself out there to be judged, right? And anyway, and it's like you and the artist. You're like, hey,
for sure, bro.
If fans are going to compare this to other things that you've done and rip me apart, like luckily I've been on a good streak with them where they love everything I've done. But I'm like, this is now the live space.
Right.
So I remember like leading into opening night. I mean, the good thing is I've been a great team around me, and I started to feel relief when all these like people that do a lot of tours were coming up to me saying, yo, this is incredible. I haven't seen anything like this, all this stuff. I'm like,
wow.
Okay, are they just like being nice to me, or is this like actually good? And then the opening night went, and just this like explosion of reaction of hearing 20,000 people lose their shit to what you did was something I'd never experienced. You know, it's like a profound, like emotional thing. Because like everything we do is like lives on the internet. Yeah, it might get millions of views, but we don't see might see a reaction video, but they're always acting like they watched it for the first time, and it's it's forced view shit. Whereas being in that situation, I was like, I've never felt anything like that, you know? And may never again. And when you think about like, even when you do a movie, it's like you might see it in a theater at a premiere with 4,000 people or 2,000 people if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But most of the time, you know, it's intimate, you know, a couple hundred people at a time. And, and to have that kind of reaction was just, it was really beautiful. And to see the feedback and everybody get the experience. And like her brother came for the first time last night, and he gave me a big hug, and he was just like emotional. He was like, this is the best thing I've seen ever. And a lot of people, you know, have been telling me, they're like, this is the best show I've ever seen.
Bro, I need to go now. What the heck?
Yeah, I got to get you to the show.
That'd be sick.
But that has been, I would say to this point, the most challenging thing I've done. You know, this moving mountain of a project. That's why I haven't dropped that much videos this year. You know, it's like I've been kind of like, this is my bubble.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, we've done stuff with her, like, but that's all part of the journey. It's like we're now jamming videos in on tour and all that stuff, you know. But
yeah,
getting that beast on the road was like everything.
That's amazing, bro. Are you allowed to talk about what your pitch was that made her so emotional?
It was the show you see.
Damn, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Can we tell people if they go to the show and watch this pod, like, so? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, there's videos of this show out on YouTube.
Got it.
But like when you experience the show is meant to make you feel something.
Got it.
You know, and especially because it's so rooted in her life and experience as a person. That's where the emotion came from.
I see.
Because I think it's in the moment of me pitching it, I think there's a feeling of relief in herself knowing I found the right person to do this.
Yeah.
And he sees me, he gets me. Mm-hmm. And that's that feeling of being felt, you know, like,
yeah.
that's like the biggest gift you could give to an artist in a
For
way,
sure.
you know, is like, I get you,
Right.
you know, and once you have that relationship with somebody, there's so much relief that comes with it because you feel like you don't have to micromanage anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an artist that just trusts, like, oh, like, I know Christian has good taste,
Right.
and he's going, I don't even have to look at the details of a render or images in the treatment. They're just like, no, I know he has good taste.
Yeah.
And he'll tell me if I need to wear something specific or, you know, what fits the world, but they trust the taste. And you build that respect with time.
Yeah.
You know? And not every artist does give you that, you know, and people have their own insecurities that you have to manage. Being a director is managing personalities all the time.
Yeah, bro.
And you have to be there for them.
You have to. I mean, the love is mutual, man. Like she brought you on stage for the VMAs when she won.
Yeah, that was, I mean, another insane thing. You know, I didn't expect that.
That's incredible.
I remember being there. I mean, we were sitting there, and then I didn't know anything about winning anything. And when seeing her go win, I was just like sitting there in shock. I'm like, holy shit, we just won Video of the Year or whatever. And then she gets there and she's like, come up here. And I'm like, And then I'm standing there and I'm just like, this is nuts. And then when she asked me to say something, I'm like, oh, fuck.
You didn't plan a speech.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have nothing planned. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to say. And then, you know, you just speak from the heart, which is, you know, thank the crew, thank my wife, and thank her. That's really the things to do, you know.
I mean, she pulled out her list and she shouted out everybody in the crew.
I know, she had a laundry list. I'm like, damn, I didn't get the heads up to, I didn't have no paper to pull out. I just had this mic, like, staring at me. I'm like, wow, I'm on my tippy toes. It's funny though. Like, it's funny. I watched the clip back, and I'm like, it was like 10 seconds long. It felt like I was up there for 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy,
You know?
bro.
But it was beautiful. I mean, it was fun because I had been there. I've gone to the VMAs so much times over the years, and like, you're just there, and I'm usually watching like Taylor Swift beat me in every category. But it was cool to be there, and in that sense of, and I think I said that night, I'm like, I'm glad it happened this way.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I'm glad I lost those other years, so I felt like what it felt like. And then I'm glad I won with an artist like her, who is so gracious into, like, you know, sharing the moment and the love.
For sure.
You know, because you can win that with an artist that's just going to be like, thank you, I busted my ass on this.
Yeah.
And, like, you know.
90% of the times.
Yeah, you know what I
know?
mean? They don't really show the respect. So, like, that's where I'd give all the, you know, love and praise. She's a very unique person in that.
Yeah.
And even now, like, we'll be leaving the loadout after a show, and like, these people are tearing down the stage, and she runs out there, thank you all, please be safe tonight, like, blah, blah. You know, like, she don't have to acknowledge anybody.
Yeah.
But she does, you know, she makes sure she shows love. And
That's really
and
dope.
I think if more people realize that, the more love and appreciation you show people, the more excited they are to work for you.
Yeah.
And even me, I take that approach from directing. It's like, I always used to hear these stories over the years of like, directors are assholes. And, you know, like, I whenever I'd work with like older producers that had been around, like in like the propaganda film days and shit, you know, they'd be like, oh, like, you're so nice, you know, you can tell me no and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, but like, you're a human being too. Like, you know, we're all doing this journey. I'm like, are directors assholes because the way you speak? And they're like, well, coming up in the 90s and in early days, like, I guess people were just, you know, rough around the edges and very demanding and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd rather lead with some love and everybody feel good. And I might never have time to walk around after a shoot and give everybody a handshake or, you know, a high five. But I always try to tell people, I'm like, the best gift I could give you is to bring you on the next job.
Yeah.
You know, so I say, if I don't somehow miss you because it's late and you're loading in or something, I'm like, when you're on the next job, you know, you did a good job. You know what I mean? So
that's awesome, bro. It's amazing. I guess beyond the relationships, you've also built a company for yourself, The Lucky Bastards. Yeah. That's your thing. That's your production company. I know you have a partnership with London Alley and you'll do stuff with them. But for your own company, I know you also will represent or produce for other directors from time to time. Yeah.
So realistically, when we started the company, it's started by the same gentleman I was mentioning I'd shot these like home movies with. So we started in the pandemic, and we chose the name The Lucky Bastards because it was like, we're lucky to be doing this shit. You know, like, we were friends that grew up doing it, and like, now we're doing it with big boy money and doing it for fun, you know?
Yeah.
So we still take those moments to all look around like, holy shit, we're doing this.
Pretty cool, bro.
But yeah, with the intention of like, I hadn't really sought out like people on a roster who, you know, were jumping out the page. Like, it's like not like the people that are like being on like eye candy every month. You know, it's like, because all those directors are getting hit up by every production company, you know.
Right.
I always love to like find the potential in somebody that's being overlooked.
Yeah.
Where I felt like I was for a long time.
Right.
You know, I was like, oh, I like your work ethic and like you're really creative and you're just like an opportunity away from being where you should be.
Right.
So I always like try to procure talent in that capacity.
Right.
So like when you look at a roster, it's not necessarily like directors that have done all these things. It's more of like a breeding ground of people that I think are so close to just getting an opportunity to go.
Right.
And, you know, music videos are in a funky place where trying to get people work.
Right.
You know, it's like there's less music videos being shot. Labels aren't taking the risks on a lot of things like they used to. And I feel bad to be an up-and-coming director right now. Like, I think about it, I'm like, you're up against now directors that would normally be in this tier who are now coming down here to challenge you, and you're just trying to sink your teeth in, you know?
Yeah.
Like 50K videos used to be low-hanging fruit that like you could be a bottom feeder and get those all day long. Nowadays, it's like, no, you're going to be pushed down even more, you know?
Kind of scary, bro.
It's scary for sure, but I think people just need, you know, it's like you have to kind of grow with it and adapt, and I think the hunger is what's going to, you know, it's going to force people to kind of go in their bag a little bit. How do you go and grab the attention?
Right.
It's not going to fall in your lap, so it's going to really weed out the people who are not built for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think in a way, if you're hungry enough and you are dumb enough to just like keep going, you'll break through. There'll be some opportunity that falls and you'll get one of those things to go your way. And it's what you do with that opportunity that's going to be impactful, you know? I always try to tell young directors, I'm like, don't feel like you have to make this massive swing on, like they'll just get this treatment and they'll just write this grand idea like it's like their magnum opus.
Right.
And I'm like, these are the videos that you will not even look back on to remember in your stake of a career.
Right.
They are opportunities to learn and push your stone up the hill.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I always try to tell them, like, you'll know when it's the one to take the big swing on. You know, I'll be the one saying, hey, we're putting everything in this. But like a lot of times I'm like, just get your feet wet. Like, be working.
Yeah.
Be creating. You know, I think as long as you're creating, I'm that type of person. If I'm not doing anything, I'll lose my fucking mind.
Right.
Like in some capacity, I have to be
doing something.
Like if I wasn't shooting a music video, I'd be writing a film.
Right.
Or I'd be doing, you know, like creating in some capacity so I don't go postal.
Right. Yeah. I mean, dude, you're a creative, man.
You have to be psychotic a little bit to be a creative. You know?
Have
it's
to
like
be.
my wife sometimes she'll be like, you wrote this? Like I sleep next to you? Jesus.
She watched that Demons video.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I don't know what's going on in your brain. I'm like, I don't know. I don't put any limitations on it.
Yeah. I feel that way about Ari Aster. His films are fucked up.
Yeah,
bro.
but I love that shit. When I watch those films, I'm like, yes, somebody's not scared to just like, you know what, fucking kill this guy.
Right.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
I'm so attracted to that stuff where, you know, I mean, all in good favor and good reason, but I love a good surprise. I love feeling, I think because as a creative person, being outsmarted is such a good feeling. This person creatively outsmarted me. I didn't see that happening.
Right,
good
right,
for
right.
you.
You ever see, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, you made me feel something.
Yeah. Did you ever see Obsession?
I haven't seen it yet.
What about Backrooms?
I haven't seen, dude. So becoming a dad, I don't make it to the cinema as much as I should, and it's depressing.
I totally understand.
But she's starting to get to an age where now babysitters are more of an option, and it's very much a thing I want to do.
Yeah.
But now that I'm also on tour and I have like off days in cities,
yeah,
that's going to be my thing. Is like going and hitting the city. Like I have to go see Disclosure Day. I have to see Obsession.
Yes.
Hopefully they're all still in theaters by the time. I mean, probably when I get to Texas, I'm gonna go see as much as I can. I might even take a day and just go
movie hopping.
Yeah, movie hopping and do it because I'm so owed to do it. And as a cinema lover, I'm like I feel terrible watching something on my TV at home. Like I'm like, how did I go this long without seeing it? I watched Project Hail Mary on my TV, and I'm like, fuck.
Oh,
I'm
really?
such a piece of shit.
It's okay, bro. You're in dad mode now.
I know, but that's been one of the sacrifices. But I've heard great things. I'm excited to see this surge of talented people, young people break through this studio wall of like, okay, you can make how many Marvel, Star Wars things that like we're getting bored of. Star Wars used to be cool when it was exclusive.
Yes.
Then it became, you're jamming it down our neck in every which way because it feels like a cheap money grab.
Yeah.
And people start to feel frauded out by that,
Of course.
And I think we are reaching that. I heard, this was years ago. I remember Spielberg talked about it, where it was like, it's going to become the Western, where it's like, gets so jammed down your neck that it dies.
Mm-hmm.
And what you look is like, after the spaghetti Western stuff, what ended up happening is it opened the space for the 70s, which is where you saw a huge revolution in cinema.
Yeah.
With all these great voices and things happening. And I think we're like nearing that.
We're nearing that. I agree.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
We're right there.
Yeah.
Right at the right time.
Yeah.
But it's great to see, it's super cool to see. And especially because Curry Barker had the pleasure to work with him.
You did?
Yeah, I produced this golf TV series that we did at London Alley. It was a YouTube series called Shanked.
What?
And Curry came in and played a cop on the 8th episode, and he was super funny, and we got to chat it up and stuff. But I had no idea he's so brilliant as a director. It's funny, like, you're just meeting people as like he's just acting and big comedian. Then when I saw that he did it, I was like, holy shit. I was like, good.
That's
good for
dope.
you, bro.
That's really dope.
But you love to hear those stories, and hopefully there's a lot more. Hopefully we're just at the very beginning of that. We look back at this and we're like, yeah, look at what came out of it. There's a bunch of people now, because that's just how this machine's built. Is everything populates to what's going on, and a huge factor of this is how do they get the young people in the seats,
right?
And I think making movies that young people want to see is a big part of it.
Being young, knowing the voice of young people, knowing what young people want and are going through. Yep. It's time, bro.
And it's a thing. You saw like just with that Disclosure Day whole rollout, it's like they were having to like do this whole rollout marketing plan for that movie to introduce Steven Spielberg to a generation that doesn't know who he is or why he matters.
Insane, bro.
And it's crazy to think that, because like I think about my childhood and it was like so impactful.
Right.
But then, in the later years, his movies have been more mature. And so like it's not the nostalgic, like Jurassic Park, E.T., like those movies, they probably watch that and like, oh, I don't know what a Gen Z person thinks of E.T. Like to me, it's a brilliant film, and like I'm so happy when I watch it. And like, do they watch it like, oh, it looks like a fake alien or something?
Right.
I'm like, I just don't know where the culture is in that sense. But
right.
Hopefully they think it's brilliant. Hopefully they watch Jurassic Park and be like, it looks sick. Because in the same way I could watch Jaws and appreciate the hell out of that fake shark.
Right.
I love it. And if it was anything else, I would be pissed.
Yeah. It was what it was meant to be.
In a world of AI that could do anything it wants, like I love these things.
Yeah. Yeah. I know your career has kind of been transitioning, and I want to get to features next, but before we stop there, I've seen when I was digging through your work, and I didn't realize you've done a lot of commercials too.
Yeah.
And were those like just kind of like tagged from like artist relationships who are like, hey, I also want you to do this commercial? Like, how did you kind of break into that world,
It's tricky. The first commercial I ever did, I think was for Marshmello, for Old Spice.
Oh.
And it was funny though, because it was supposed to be like, it was non-SAG, non-union, like this thing. And it was like they had paid, you know how you'll see like on Instagram, there's like an ad where like it'll be like a celebrity or something that films their own video for like a brand.
Like like user generated?
Yeah, like something like that. They had paid him to do something like that. Then Mo had hit me and says, we want to do like a cool commercial thing. So we put this concept together and we did it. And then Old Spice loved it. That they were like, this feels like a commercial. And we want to actually use it as one. It didn't live on national television, but it went on all over. They made it a bigger campaign.
Right.
And like so much that they got Isaiah Mustafa, the voice, to do. It wasn't supposed to be his voice originally, and then they put his Old Spice voice in there. And that was kind of a little leap in there. And then a lot of the commercial stuff was just built, through London Alley and, having the reps and people putting you in the rooms.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's a bit of it. Like all the Swarovski stuff I did was Ari pulling me into it. He has to shoot it.
Yeah.
And luckily, it's been a great relationship where they've enjoyed the process. It's not like they're just like, oh, shit, we have some artist demanding.
Yeah.
But it's been a good thing where that's what you hope comes out of it.
For sure.
And hopefully there's more things like that. I mean, commercials is a different beast, as you know. It's like you get far and few between you land like the job that is really like you feel like you have ownership of.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always wondered, like when you see really brilliant commercial like directors that get those, and then you see, they have these DCs that they do and all that stuff, but it's like how are you getting this stuff across the line? Because I feel like every commercial, it's like just gets dissected to hell, and you think about those like first initial conversations, and you're like, remember when you guys really wanted to take those big swings and everything, and then you see the edit, and you're like, oh, all those big swings died.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with commercials, and maybe as I get more established and say I do a film, and maybe you get a little bit more, elbow room to kind of be like, no, that sucks.
Yeah, right. They kind of like let you do your thing.
Yeah, I've heard some stories like just from like people like Jeff telling me shit about like Fincher and like how he can.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really dope.
He's got some creative control to be like, nah, like we're not doing that. And I'm like, it's good to know that I'll get maybe someday.
Yeah, I mean, you have the creative leverage now. Like even as a video director, like you're presenting a one page to an artist who normally is used to getting these beautifully designed PDFs. You know what I mean? So it's like,
but a music video is a pure space. Like I always say, is like the middleman. Like the concept of a music video where it works is if you can tap in and get to the artist. It's really just two artists creating at that point.
Right, true. You don't have like agencies and middlemen and people in
not
between.
To say some artists have a creative director, that's like buffering stuff, but like I think sometimes the best relationship with that is where like creative director takes kind of a back seat, just is focused on the overall branding to make sure it sits in, but like leaves the door open for the creative process.
Right.
If that exists. I don't like, sometimes I've been in those spots where the creative director is just like slamming the door and you're trying to just like, you're like, hey, you're making this a little trickier than if we just, and now me having been a creative director, I can see it a little bit, but also, I think people get too caught up in the web of that stuff a little bit.
Right.
It's not that serious. Let's make something great, Not everything has to be this like web theme that fit the album. Like everything could be and exist in its own space. Like I think if there's something that works really well as an independent piece, let it be.
Mm-hmm.
Like should always be what's best servicing, like what's the best possible thing we can make for this song so that it receives the most love, the most attention, and whether that fits perfectly in your album concept or it fits really good on its own should be a conversation,
Right, for sure. Well said, man. The next phase of we were talking about this before we even started recording, but you're now really trying to enter the feature space, the film space, TV, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me about that, man. What are your ambitions, or is there anything you're working on that you can like secretly share or like tease people about? Like, you know what I mean?
Nothing I can really crazily share, but we're working on a few things. Definitely more than I've ever been further into the feature space. Like I said, it's like over the years I've had opportunities and things, but I've been very patient. And it wasn't until like I think about a year ago that one of my directors kind of pulled me aside and was like, man, I got to tell you something. And I was like, what do you got to tell me? He's like, I'm kind of pissed at you because like I don't think you realize how much opportunity you have to just go make a film right now. He goes, you know how many directors I watch that have no like previous work, no this, no that, and they're getting films made. And like you have all these connections, you've built a platform, you could show proof of your work, all these things you've done. And like, what are you waiting for? And I remember being like, fuck, okay, like you've lit the fire under me. And then that's when I like made some calls. I ended up getting a manager. I ended up, doing the proper business stuff to set myself up. And I'm like, let's go see what this is. And realizing that when I'm meeting these people, they're like, oh yeah, you have something that we are into, and exploring what that is. And then also realizing, because I love to write, but I don't have time to write.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being a dad and you're running a business and you're doing all these things. Like if I take my foot off the gas, then you lose momentum.
Yeah.
And it's like the love-hate relationship of being like, how can I have to kind of go away to do this.
Yeah.
But then the good thing is being with a good manager puts you in a room with other brilliant minds of writers, and me realizing that like I've never been the one that feels like, oh, I have to be the writer director.
Right.
I just have good ideas that I would love people to come on board and craft them with.
Expand them, build
Exactly.
on.
Like you could write and I could give notes and we could build it together, and you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, and we all win. And so that's been a lot of where I've been at, is being in the room with other brilliant writers and developing a few things and having excitement build behind those few things, and kind of have a lot of line in the waters in different places right now. And I think they're all brilliant in their own ways and could see them all coming to light at some point, but just having fun incubating them and taking the meetings and judging the reactions, and just, like I said, patience, man.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And if you feel like, I don't have a wait to feel like I have this ticking clock that I have to do it right now.
Yeah.
If the moment is right, if the door opens and I'm in a position, I know I'll walk through it with definition, you know? And until then, I'm just having fun. And I think it's sooner than later.
Love it, bro.
Like I won't be surprised if it's, within the year or so,
Yeah.
So we'll see.
What would a Christian Breslauer movie look like?
I think, as a core, I've always been a lover of the genre of a thriller. So I think naturally it would be a thriller. I think I love to take my audience on a bit of a journey and play with my food, as you will.
Yeah.
I want to tell an original story. I want people to feel things. I want people to, want to tell their friends about it. Like I always said, to me, it's like, yeah, a big award's cool, but you kind of did something cool if you're like out at a restaurant and people are talking about it and don't know you did anything on it.
Right.
To me, that's like, I told this to an executive when I was in a meeting, and I was like, that to me would be the coolest thing. It's like just being out at dinner and being like, have you seen that movie? Oh my God, it's so fucking cool. Like, love this. And you're just overhearing the conversation. You're like, that's when you sip your glass of wine and you're like, all right, did something cool.
I mean, that's like the dream of a filmmaker. It's like your work transcending different people and being a conversation piece, again, with what Obsession and Backrooms is doing, like.
I can't imagine. I mean, they're tapping into something, and like you see the firestorm of it. And I mean, granted, the Obsession thing's even more insane because it's just like, you had this indie filmmakers all coming together to take a crack. And I mean, 750,000, like, there's music videos shot for that, So it's like mad respect. And to all the people that worked on, because I'm sure there's a lot of fucking blood, sweat, and tears that went into that, and people like eating fucking pizza every day, and you could just imagine it. But the cool thing is that's a big part of it. We always talk about it. It's like you treat people with respect, you get people to buy into it, and you can make some cool stuff, And yeah, the money is cool and all, but I think the bigger thing is like you took something and you made something that people are excited about and talking about, and I'm sure it's exploded immense opportunities for everybody up and down that, like the actors that were in it, the crew, the produce, like everybody who took the chance on it,
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, I just love to see that because it means it's only helping people like us,
Yeah.
It's only going to help people like us who just want to tell a story. And now where we felt like maybe we were outside the door, a bit like, how do we get in? I think like since the studios have like started looking out the windows now.
Yeah.
And like, what's out there?
Yeah.
Rather than, we have these directors that have been here, and, there's probably complacency building and some of that stuff. For now, it's like, let's go find some people and let's throw some wrenches in the mix. And I think it's exciting. I mean, I'm excited to see where I thought last year's, Oscar race had some really, like, it was fun, like really good films in the running. There was some good stuff happening. And I think it's only going to hopefully keep going. Because there were some wonky years in there, some stuff where you're like, man.
It's interesting.
But there's a little bit of weight moving, and not that it's, I mean, Oscars are one thing because it's what, it's what the business is built on. But I think there's a new thing because like these films aren't Oscar films, but they're tapping into the pulse of what the masses want to go see it. You know?
I feel like they could be Oscar films at this point.
I mean, you never know, but I mean, I guess you're right. Like,
you know,
I don't know if when they start making that shift of like,
I don't know.
should be, you know, it's somewhat of a contention. I mean, Sinners was, right? It's like, that's a horror film, you know? Granted, it was a big swing and it had a lot of studio weight behind it too.
For sure.
Whereas like, I don't know, Obsession, well, they like, you know, because an Oscar thing is like a whole campaign that you have to throw tons of money behind it. But then we saw Nora, you know, like, and I don't think they had that kind of money being dumped behind it.
Yeah, you know, actually what's interesting is like the hype of Obsessions and Backroom is so big that like I feel like everybody's now heard of those movies. Yeah. So like they might not even need the marketing budget or the Oscar, you know, campaign.
It's
like,
true.
Which is so interesting. It's pretty cool.
I mean, it might, I mean, you know, models shift all the time. You know, I think that's the exciting thing is like to see it kind of start to move in a favor that favors where we are. Yeah. You know, I think to me, I get excited. Yeah, it's on the verge of AI and all this other shit. And like, yeah, whoop-de-doo. But it's like, I don't stare at the sky wondering if there's an asteroid going to fall. You know, it's like, I take each day as it comes.
That's a good analogy.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, what is? Yeah. They say that we're tumbling out in space right now and anything can happen at any moment.
Right.
You know? So
true.
like.
It's true.
What the hell are we worried about?
It's true, man. If there's one takeaway that I've got from this convo, I mean, one of many amazing gems, but if one is like things will happen as long as you just keep believing in yourself and never stop, right? And like, don't put pressure on yourself on a certain timeline. Don't try to force something that isn't meant to be. Just like let things fall into place. And you did that, and it's cool to see how like everything's, you know, come to fruition from when you first moved to LA to you know, to now. And like, I remember I was putting so much pressure before I turned 30. I'm like, oh my God, once I'm 30, I'm an old man. I got to have my life figured out and I got to make all these movies. And then I turned 30. I'm like, holy shit, I haven't done any of this.
But you look at so many successful filmmakers who didn't even start till like late 40s, 50s. You know, it's like, there's not a lot of directors that make it in their 30s. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, once you learn that, you're like, oh, I'm chilling.
It's because you have to live life.
You have to.
And I didn't realize that.
Oh, I used to always be a believer in that. That was like a huge thing of like, I tell people like, to create, you have to live. Like when I get stuck in a treatment, I will love to just go outside. I want to be around people. I want to people watch. I want to see something. And like, I still like when I love sitting in a public place and just like observing. And, you know, you might watch it a couple out at dinner and something about their body language just inspires an idea. And you're just like, write your notepad and like, movie about this, you know, you just, and it'll live in your notes. And then one day you'll look through it and you're like, oh yeah, that was something. But yeah, live your life. I would say, you know, don't get caught up on it's so easy to get caught up on the destination, you know? And I love to use the analogy that, there's a lot of ways to get to one place, especially living in LA. Right. You know, like how many highways can you take to get somewhere? 1 million. And then you think about all the finger roads and all this stuff. So just because you might be getting detoured down a path that takes you an extra hour to get there doesn't mean you're not going to get there in the end. Yeah. And the important thing is just focus on what's in your headlights, right? It's like take each turn as you turn. Don't get caught up on all that other bullshit because it'll take a toll. And you never know if you block your own blessings from just getting too caught up in it, you know? And then chances are you're going to look back and like, if you look at back in your life in little 4 or 5 year chunks, there's a lot of accomplishments that usually happen in those, you know? Like, you're like, man, even if you go further back where you're just like first picked up a camera and then you look at where you're at now, you might say, I'm not where I wanted to be the final destination, but I'm fucking so far. Right. And I think we don't give ourselves enough grace in that stuff, you know? That's the fun thing about like seeing, I love going on, like I don't even actively use Facebook, but like I go on Facebook and I'll get like a memory and it's like this day and it'll be like 13 years ago, I dropped this music video for this local rapper that has like 500 views on it. And I'm like, I looked at it and I was sitting next to my brother like not that long ago and I'm like, look at this video I shot 13 years ago. I'm like, isn't this crazy? That like, nuts, dude. And like it puts a smile on your face because you're like, yeah, we have come a long way, you know, and that's fun. And I think there's something exciting about not being at the final destination yet because, you know, once you're there, if you set if you set that goal as like, if your ultimate goal is like, oh, I want to win an Oscar, what do you do after that?
Yeah.
That's like, achieving your dreams is like one thing, but then it's like, ah, damn, like I did it. And what if it doesn't give you everything?
Right.
You know?
It probably won't.
It won't. No, I guarantee it's like, it's a moment you're like, and you feel it and you're holding it, you're like, this is it. Then it's just living on your shelf.
You wake up the next day and you got to just get back to it.
You know, and that's the real thing. And like what it truly means is the moments spent with people and the process of doing it.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of successful people talk about this, that the journey is more fun. It's like playing a video game and you beat the game. And then you just free roam the map and you're like, what do I, like Grand Theft Auto, it's like you're done with the game. You're like, I guess I got to go rob this person and just like fuck around today. But like the journey is the fun part. And we're all on the journey. And I think like the more you kind of ground yourself into that and like appreciate it, the better it is for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, once you're on that pathway and it's like you're at the height and then you're sitting there and I think it like they always say, it's lonely at the top. And I think it could be a real thing.
Yeah.
You know? So you prepare yourself for it. I like my favorite Oscar speech of all time. And there's so many brilliant ones, but I loved Matthew McConaughey's where he talked about that, where he was just like, you know, I chase myself 10 years at a time. Like he's like, the version of me that I look up to is me 10 years from now. And he's like, because if you do that, it's like, because I know 10 years from now, I'm not going to be where I wanted to be, but like I'll be further along than where that 10-year thought he was. And you're never going to be complacent because if you're always chasing yourself 10 years from now, you're never going to catch them. And you always have something to keep you going. And I whenever I saw that, I remember it like really resonated with me because at the time he said it, I was kind of far enough along to have a 10-year span of like looking at my journey. And I was like, yeah, I guess I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's a good exercise for anybody. It's like, even if you haven't made it yet, just look at 10 years back and like, I guess, yeah, if you're 16 years old, you might be 6 years old, but chances are you might be 25 or something. You look back at 16 and hopefully, you know, you've got some stuff to look back on, but it's a good exercise. And if you don't have 10 years, try 5.
Yeah, Jeff.
Try 5 and then you can go to 10 once you're
in your
older.
30s.
Yeah, exactly.
It hits different in your 30s, bro.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It really does. And then you have kid and all this stuff and you're like, oh, okay.
That's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Like 1.5 years ago, you didn't have a kid.
I
Or
know.
2 years ago, right? Like,
Yep.
you know, it's crazy.
You really, and you start looking back and stuff, you're like, wow, I've been doing this how long? And you're like, wait, I shot that video how many years ago? And you're like, shit.
That's the crazy thing. Like when you think back and you said you did the box in 2020. I mean,
yeah, 6 years ago. Like,
that's so crazy. That feels like yesterday.
it really does to me too. I'm like, actually, I probably shot it in 2019, end of 2019. I think I did.
That's even worse.
But yeah, life comes at you fast, and that's what the funny thing they say is like when you're young, time is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because your perspective of time isn't in existence, right? So like if you're 10 years old, you're only really conscious of time maybe 5 years. So 5 years feels like forever.
Right.
Right? But then as you get to like 15, you're like, oh, like 10 years wasn't that bad. But it's not until you start to get to like 30 where you've lived, you can remember how fast 20 years went.
Yeah.
And that's where you hear old people say time flies because perspective.
Yeah.
And that's always been such an intriguing idea to me.
Yeah.
You know, like the older you get, precious time gets because you realize what 5 years feels like, 10 years feels like, 15 and all that stuff.
Yeah, bro. It's getting too existential for me.
But that's the good thing about film, dude. We make a film. It's like you look at a career of a filmmaker. It's like they look at it as a pocket of time. It's like, oh, that's a moment. Like I guarantee a guy like Spielberg watches a film. He's like, oh, I remember my first child was born while I was making that. And like they were on set with me that.
Right.
And it's like, oh, this one, so-and-so was born. You know, it's like your life becomes those, it's a personalized thing, a memento of your life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're putting so much of your life into it
right.
that it's like a visual, I don't know, motif of like where you are as a person.
I mean, what a privileged, you know, opportunity we have as filmmakers to be able to live that kind of life. It's kind of cool.
100%. I don't take it for granted ever.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anybody should. I mean, even if you're coming up and stuff, it's like to get to do it. You know, if you really love what you do and you get to do it, even I remember feeling stoked the first time somebody paid me to do it.
Yeah.
I think I got like $400 to like film this female rapper in Miami. And
Best feeling, huh? Best feeling, huh?
I was like, paid. You know, I was like all singles. She was a female stripper, and she came in singles and had like hair stuck in it. And I was like, fuck yeah, you know.
That's dope.
And that was great. And then that was like the itch. I'm like, wow, somebody will pay me to do this. And then I started a light bulb flipped, where it was like, oh, I could learn this way and get paid. And if I can't go to film school, at least I can kind of like invest my own way of learning, you know. And luckily enough, I was kind of at the right time of, you know, tutorials on YouTube and stuff, so you can kind of learn. Like nowadays, if you're a kid nowadays, I don't think there's any excuse.
Right.
You could shoot some sick stuff on an iPhone. Like, if I had this as a kid, I can't imagine.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Like having the opportunity to do crazy slow-mo shots, doing this, and like you could still get some depth of field. I was like,
it is pretty crazy.
If I had this, I would have been game changer.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's nuts. And like, you just think about like how affordable high quality cinema shit is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when like Red Camera first came out, I was like, what do you mean it's going to cost me like $100K to like get that quality? You know, it's like, now I seen like my brother just bought one of these like compact, like, you know, it's like you see that even that new Red Nikon, like they're all like in affordable range that like I probably spent back in the day on like a Sony VX.
Yeah.
You know, like you could get a setup for $5K now.
Yes.
Like, that's a minimal investment to something that you could probably shoot a movie and put it in the theater on.
You totally could.
So like, I'm always like, there's no excuses now more than ever. It's going to level the creative playing field that creative people will win.
It's all about the idea now.
Not just the people with the opportunity to have access to shit.
All you need is idea, vision. That's it.
Yep.
The tools are there.
100%.
Yeah, dude. I have one last thing I like to do for each episode.
Cool.
It's a little game. Oh, one sec. Oh, this would be fun.
Oh, I'm getting moody.
Yes, sir. Finally putting this to use.
Oh.
Full RGB. It's kind of tight.
I love it.
Yeah, dude. So I got this deck of cards here. And at the end of each episode, I dedicate one card to each guest. The thing is, I'm not going to pull your card. I want you to pull the card, right? So whatever feels right to you. Go ahead and take the deck, shuffle it, whatever. Pull one card, read the question, and give an answer from the bottom of your heart.
Well, that's fun. If you get one that somebody else got.
It's okay. I've had there's a point, I'm sure there's a point where I've already had repeat ones. Shuffle, whatever. I don't know why that's flip, yeah. And just pick whatever feels right to you, bro, you know? Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Hold on, you gotta say it in the mic, bro.
I recently did a tarot card for the first time, and I pulled one of the good cards. I didn't know what it meant, but they were like, I pulled the Magician, and apparently the Magician's a really good thing, so we'll see.
That's dope. So you got a tarot reader?
No.
Oh, just the deck?
It's just like the deck, and it was like, see what happens. All right, so let me see. Does this one feel right? Yeah, it's calling to me. Let's see what it says. If you could have dinner with anyone dead or alive, who would it be and why? Ooh.
That's kind of cool.
Anyone dead or alive, who would it be and why? It's funny because my mind has to go to dead people first.
I mean,
who's dead? But there's so many people alive that I'd want to have dinner with. So hold on, you got to give me a beat here.
It's tough.
This might be cliche, but I think I would want to have dinner with my grandparents who are no longer alive.
Wow.
You know, especially because early on in my journey, they were like early believers. Wow. And they didn't get to see, you know, where I'm at now. They kind of passed before they could see the journey. And I was just talking to one of my other grandparents, and they brought it up. They're like, I wish they could see. And I was like, I feel them around me. But that would be probably what I would do. It's just to be able to be like, hey, look at what we've done, you know? Because there was a time where my grandmother, where my computer was broken when I did one of those first music videos. And I was like, oh, I have this opportunity to edit a music video, but my computer's broken. And my grandma gave me the money to fix it. Mm-hmm. And she also offered, she's like, if you want to go to school, like, we'll put you into college. And at that time, I didn't want to take their money and stuff, but like, they were always big on support. And then now they're both no longer here. And my grandpa was like one, like, luckily he lived longer than my grandma, but he would call me all the time, like, what video you got dropping. And he didn't know any of these artists, you know. It's
Yeah.
like, what award are you up for? Oh, the VMA, we're going to watch, we're going to listen. And the craziest thing about it is that this year when we won Video of the Year, my grandpa would call me every year for like the VMAs and like what's going on. And this year when we won was on his birthday. It's crazy.
Oh, that's dope, dude.
Super crazy.
That's really dope.
So, yeah, I would want to have dinner with my grandparents.
That's a great answer. There's nothing cliche about that, bro.
Yeah.
That was an amazing answer.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, bro.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for being here, y'all. Dude, thank you, bro. Right? I kind of want to make that like once I really develop an audience, maybe get that for like fans to buy as like.
No, it's good. It's a good game. I mean, I honestly like doing that stuff. You sit around the table and you pass around, just good conversation starter.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you're out drinking wine with friends. It's like, hey, everybody pull a card and just get some good conversation going.
Yeah, dude.
Well, yeah, man, this was fun. This was sick. I love the spot. Love the pod.
Thank you, bro.
Excited
Thanks
to
for
hear
being
it.
here. If y'all are listening right now, take notes. I hope you've been taking notes. Where can people follow you, man?
We're gonna quiz you on everything. You can follow me. I mean, the real thing I really jam on is Instagram. Chris the Director. It's really easy. I don't really do any of the other socials. I know. I don't know how to make a TikTok. Unfortunately, I don't do the TikTok.
You only make movies, bro.
I don't really do Twitter. I don't do any of the other things. Instagram is my thing.
Yeah, I love that for you, bro. Thanks y'all for watching. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. This was fun.
I appreciate it, man. And one last thing, bro. I just want your help giving a big round of applause to ourselves. To ourselves.
Go us.
Go us, bro. Thanks, y'all. Peace.
Peace.